Hi everyone, want your own personalised digital note-taking app to organise all your thoughts in one place? It's time to build your own in Notion. With me, right now. You can use it tomorrow if you like. Hi friends, this is Better Creating. I'm Simon. Welcome back to the channel where I'm trying to simplify creative life. So loads of stuff on this channel if you've not been here before around productivity, simple living and creative tools to make our lives a little bit more stress-free and productive. Today I'm going to take you through step by step how to build this customized, personalized notebook application essentially that can help you get more productive with where you collect your thoughts, ideas, study notes, whatever it is. You'll never lose a note again. If you've not seen my previous video on this, I do a little bit of a tour of the system. We're building it in Notion. It's part of my wider productivity system that I've been building on various videos on this channel. So if you've not seen those videos around my task and project management system, you might like to check those out first of all and then come straight back to this video. Today, we're going to crack on and build it step by step as quickly as possible. By the end of this video, you're going to have a database to search for all of your notes, all the columns and functions and filters to make this system work. We're going to create a new note template and a new notebook template, and they allow us to quickly and easily add a new note with a kind of programmed template, but also add a new notebook. We're going to build the dashboard that will have the status views, the notebooks, and of course an inbox to capture things. And we're going to build a quick notes inbox, one that can sit at the top of whatever page you want, that's easily clearable, that still allows you to have a normal inbox that keeps all your notes in it until you're filtering them into the relevant notebooks that you want them to go into. Now some of you might be thinking, what about a template? Now templates are one thing, and I will eventually be probably sharing one of this wider system, but if I can show you how to build it, you can then transform it into your very own system. That's what I love about this kind of all-in-one workspace, things like Notion, is that you can build your own. So I want to give you the fishing rod instead of the fish. Right, let's do it. So here you'll see the personal home screen, which is kind of a mirror of mine that I've built in previous videos. So you might want to check those out before and come back here if you want to kind of put this all together. Under my system heading here, you can put this wherever you want. You can just keep it in the sidebar of Notion, but I'm doing it here. I'm going to put in a new database. So I'm going to do /, I'm going to do a table, but I want my table to be a full page. There it is. So let's click that in. Great. We're going to call this notes. I'm going to add an icon because I can. So just click up here and add an icon. Let's put that in. Very good. And let's give it a cover. So I think these things help. Again, what's great about this is you can use Unsplash in Notion. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to search for... cheesy, but I like it. Now, name is good. That's just the name of the note. The next thing we want to add is in here. I'm actually going to change this to this tags thing. I'm going to make this a single select, and we're going to call this status. Now, in here, I'm going to add the statuses I want for my notes. Live. Great. I'm going to want priority. So those, then I can do a filter by priority, and I want to do archived. Let's just delete all of those. So you can just go to the little dots here and give them relevant colors as you'd like to see them. There you go, traffic light system kind of thing. The next thing I want to put in is a created date. So we're going to add a column. We're going to go here, and actually we're going to, down the bottom, you should see created time in advanced. We're just going to insert that. And it does it naturally, fantastic. And I want to rename that to say, created. That then gives us a reference point to then be able to search how long they've been around for, basically. So some of this stuff is just the programming in the main system that then we can hide later in the dashboard. I'm going to want to add them to notebooks, because you could have notebooks as literally different databases, but I don't want to do that because I want to be able to search everything in one place, and I'm going to create my notebooks in a slightly different way. So we're going to add a new column, and we're going to make this a select. We're going to call this add to notebook. There we go. And in here, you can, exactly as you did with status, invent notebooks that you want to have. So let's just do a couple as an example here. I'm going to do meeting notes, creative ideas, be whatever you like, yeah? This might be a journal, specific notebooks for specific types of work, whatever you need it to be. But there's some examples. I'm going to now actually again just delete these. You can probably do this a little bit more easily. Next, I want to add a last edited. The reason I want this is it's really helpful for us to search for notes in the ones you've most recently looked at. So again, we're going to go to here, go down to advanced, and there's an automatic one in there, last edited time. I want to be able to know how long things have been around. Now this is for kind of future things, but we're going to put it in and show you a little bit of formula work. So we're going to add in here a today column. So we're going to make this one a formula. And in here, we're going to put today, and you're going to click on it, and it'll allow you, essentially, when you do this, to write in a formula. And this is really simple. To put in today as a formula, you write now, open brackets, close brackets. And you'll see that it gives us the exact time. Now what that allows us to see is a difference between when something was created and right now, and the time since you last edited it. Now that's useful to do this next function, and I'm going to do a weeks old. Okay, so we're going to click in here, same thing again, make it a formula. We're going to name this weeks old. So we're going to click on it, see at the bottom of this, date between. And you'll see it gives us instructions. So it says date between, a date, and a piece of text. So the piece of text might be weeks, years, quarters, whatever. So you can actually work this out in terms of time frames. So I'm going to do date between, then I'm going to click in and go back up to the top. I'm going to put in today and put a comma, and then created, yeah, and then a comma, and then I'm going to put in weeks and close the brackets. There you go, we've created a formula. And now this will reveal in a single number how many weeks old it is. It's really helpful because if you just want to filter by everything that you did in this last week, or everything that's just 3 weeks old, it gives you kind of ways to look at things, and I think that's a really cool little thing. Finally, I want a couple more useful elements in here, which are, I'm going to add a space to put links, so that's really easy. You're just going to click here and add a URL. I'd like some attachments. Let's add those. Go in here, file and media, easy, and I can label it. And finally, we're just going to put a checkbox in there for our quick notes section, which we're going to do later on. And we're going to just make this a checkbox and call this one hold on home screen. It means that we'll be able to filter by it so that stuff is held automatically in the quick notes. When we tick out of it, it will remove it. I'll show you that later on. And finally in here, we want to be able to link it to our project database if you've made that. So I'm going to do that really quickly, but we're not actually going to put it in here because if you do that, it all gets a bit messy. So I'm going to go back out to my personal home. I'm going to go and click on the project list that we built in the previous video. Here it is. I'm going to add a new column here, and this is going to be a relation. Okay, click in a relation. We're going to select a database, and it's very simple. I just need to search for notes. That's it there. Click on that. Create relation. We need to label it. And what you'll see now is, if I then go back to my notes home, you'll see related to project list is in here. And then that will allow us now to, there you go, populate it with a related project. Really simple. So you make that in the project list, if you have one, to link it back into here. Great, that is our main database created. Now what we're just going to do is populate it with a couple of notes to give us some examples to work with. Make that a new notebook. Fantastic, so we've got some examples to work with. One that isn't added to a notebook and the rest that are. Let's now build the dashboard. So on my home page, or wherever you want to place this, you can see that's my notes database. That just sits there under system for me because I want to be able to control the way I see the information. So it gets interesting. First of all, we're going to put a new page in. I would suggest always make it this kind of page full width, so you can go up to the dots in the top right, full width. It just makes it nice and clean. Let's name it up to be notebooks, or my notebooks. It can be whatever you like. Let's call it that. Great, and then make it look fancy. Go! Now I'm just going to make it empty with an icon. I love that about Notion. It's nice and clean and simple. From here then, now you're going to get very familiar in this section with the phrase create linked database. because it's going to be essentially a set of views of that original database we made. So we've done the hard work. First of all, we're going to want, let's say, an inbox. So I'm going to do /H2 to create a heading. The top one is, I think, H1. We're going to call it inbox. If we like, we can give that a color. So you can go down to color and background color. Then you could put in an emoji, /, go down to emoji, and let's give that an inbox sign. There you go. Just helps. Now, /create, one of my favorite things on this channel. Subscribe. So we're going to click create link database, find our notes database by searching for it. There it is, put it in there. You'll see an exact copy of what we've just made. Now, of course, I don't want it to be that. Now, anything we edit here, you'll see with the little diagonal arrow, that means that if we edit this, it won't affect the the original database. So we can kind of go to town here. So we don't want to see all of this. So I'm going to go to properties under the little dots, and we're just going to hide what we don't need. So I'm going to hide the attachment. So I'm going to hide when it was created. I'm going to hide hold on home screen. I'm going to hide last edited. I'm going to hide links, hide that. We don't need to see today. We don't need to see weeks old. Do you know what? I'm going to keep last edited. I quite like having that. And you can move these around, is we've got a view which just shows us the name of it, if it has a related project or a meeting with Erica, say, that one, we might want to link that to film shoot with Erica. There it is from my project list. So it's linked to that. There we go. Brilliant. Now, the other thing we want to do here is we want to make it so that only stuff we see is stuff that isn't linked to a notebook. So we need to filter it. Now, if I now filter add to notebook, add a filter, and I want to put when add to notebook is empty. And that means that only things that haven't been added to a notebook will stay in the inbox. Now, the reason that's really helpful, you see they've disappeared, is that if I add this this creative idea to creative ideas, it clears the inbox, and that is the function that makes it work. Let's just undo that. I just Control Z. So there's our inbox. Now we want to build a notebook. So we're going to go underneath and we're going to create another heading, H2. We're going to call this notebooks. Now what I'm going to use this element, I'm going to grab it from the side, I'm going to move it and place it next to this one. And what you'll see is, again, if I then take this and move it up underneath the inbox, you'll see it drops, so it just stays under there. And this allows us to create columns. I can move it across, and it just cleans up the look of what we've created. Rather than just create a load of notebooks, I want to create a template that allows me to create notebooks when I want to. So we're going to do /template. There's /template button. I'm going to click that. Now, oh, it gets all a little bit exciting. So here we go. Configure your template button. Call this button add new notebook. I want to delete this element here. And that's where we're going to drop our blocks. Okay, so that's ready to go. Now, I can then build something and drop it into here, and then we'll never have to build it again. Very cool. So in fact, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create a little toggle list. /toggle, okay. In this toggle, I'm going to drop it down. I'm going to call that new notebook. And then in here, I'm going to create link database. So we're doing exactly what we've just done. Now that's in there, you'll see again, it all comes up. Now what we need to do is filter this to look like a notebook. I want it to be a list view. I think it's cleanest. So we're going to create a new list view. And we're going to call this one, I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to call this one, like we did in the previous thing, last edited. And I'm going to delete the table view. There you go, starting to look a bit different now. I'm going to add another view, another list, and I'm going to make that one, I'm going to call it view all notes. There you go, so we've got view by last edited and view all notes, really clear. Now these we want to filter. So we now want to sort this by last edited, so we're going to go in and click sort, add a sort, I'm going to do when last edited is descending. And I also want to filter this. And I'm going to filter this, add a filter. And the first filter we're going to add is where status is not archived. Now that means that anything that's archived won't turn up in the last edited view and everything else will. Great, so that's done. Now the next thing you'd think you'd want to do is filter it by the notebook. The add to notebook is, let's say, meeting note, and you make it meeting notes. So what you'll see is, if I do that, we only have that meeting now. However, this is a template, and that's not helpful for us. So what we're actually going to do is change that so that add to notebook is empty. But it means that we can then edit this to add the notebook name and it will work. So there you go. That is our first element. We're going to go into view all notes, add a sort, and we're going to add where created is descending. The other thing we want to do with these views is work out what properties we want to see. Now I think it's great to see weeks old in this, in all notes. We don't want to see last edited, we want to see created because that's what we're sorting it by. To see the related project and its status. So you can just make this look how you like by moving these around. Can mess around with that. And you might want to do exactly the same in the other view. You want to see last edited rather than created. There you go. Now that looks quite clean. So it's kind of made, and we're going to make the basic one a grey background. There you go. So there is my new notebook. I'm now going to take this and I'm going to drop it into this block here. The other thing you might want to do is put in a title like this, a description like this that explains what to do. Replace add to notebook filter with the notebook choice on both views. Color code. And change the title as needed. I forgot to do one thing. I forgot to put in all notes. I need to also add a filter here, which is set up and ready to go. So add filter where add to notebook is empty. Yeah, so that's just ready to go. So if we now add a notebook, let's see what this looks like. Add notebook, hey, and it turns up, and I can just build the notebooks. So obviously over here, I want to match these. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make this first one orange. So let's just do it. Let's follow the instructions and see if this works. Here we go. Add to notebook is meeting notes. I want to do that in the other view as well. Great, look at that. There's my first notebook. So there they all are. I've made my notebooks. I tend to think it's great to also change the emoji. Look, you just do it. Delete the one in the template, /, just so it gives it a clear image. Project planning. Rockets. Fantastic. So that's my notebooks area. So over here now, we're going to quickly create the status views. Now these can be whatever you like, and it works exactly the same way as the inbox. You're just going to filter by status. So an obvious thing is, first of all, I want my priority notes. Find your database. See how simple it is now to create views. Now with these status views, once I've created one, I'm actually going to be able to duplicate them. So again, I'm not going to have to do loads and loads of work. I could take this one, could duplicate it. Yes, it's a copy of my project planning, but it's got all the other programming in it, hasn't it? Rather good. So you could actually just build it, create it from your notebooks and drop it over here. Let's edit that. Let's delete this one. So with priority view, I'm going to delete view or note because I don't need two views to it. That's now actually filtered by currently when status is not archived. Do you want to change it to status is priority? And this one we want to delete. Right, the next thing I want to do is do everything that is live, so I can view all my notes that are currently in action. So we're going to do H2 again, and we're going to call this one all live notes. Who'd have guessed? Same process. Emoji, priority notes, done. Simple as that. Next thing I'm going to do is duplicate it. So copy of the priority view, move it down, saves you a lot of work, and we can simply here go to filter when status is live. We've also naturally got last edited descending, because we copied from this over here. Now, when we create notes, I think it would be useful to be able to have a template. So over here, we're going to go to new, I'm going to do new template, and simply we're just going to put this as, call this a new note. We're going to make the status live, because we always want it to be live, and actually that's all we need. Now this button will become useful in a moment. Now in here you can put whatever you want, so you can just be, make it all look lovely. You could add an icon if you want, great. The other thing I might want to add is a quick note. I'm going to take the new note, I'm going to duplicate it, but what I'm going to add is hold on home screen is going to be ticked, and there's a good reason for that. I'm going to call this one quick note. So you now have a new note and a quick note. Finally, we're going to duplicate our inbox, and we're going to put this onto our home screen. Now, to make a quick note inbox, I want to change it so that first of all the view is a list. I'm going to delete the table view, a filter again, add to notebook is empty, but I'm also going to add a filter and that hold on home screen is ticked. Now what that means is that if I wanted to do a quick note and click a quick note, I want to just get my properties so I can see that hold on home screen tick. I can just click that and it will disappear, but you'll notice it stays in the current inbox. That's really helpful because it means I've just got a quick place to drop stuff. So I'm going to take this copy and I'm going to move it to my personal home. There you go. Now if we go back to personal home, you will see it down the bottom here. Now you can put this where you like it. I find for notes what's great is I can actually put it right up here, and what I'm actually going to do here is go, there you go. Now what that means is I can very simply add a new note, make it a quick note, it turns up there, so I can continue working on it if I want to, and when I'm finished with it, I can go, great, that's done, I won't worry about it for now. Then when I want to sort out my notes, I can go back to my notebook homepage, it's in there, and I can add it to a notebook. And that is really, really helpful because it allows me to control things in a much more clean way when I'm wanting to just input something on my mobile, whatever it is. What's brilliant now is you can also write written notes into Notion. I talk a little bit more about how that works in the previous video on this notebook system. I'm also in there breaking down how you can actually draw images and keep that lovely free function that you love from a notebook and bring it into this system. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. It means more of my videos will pop up in your feed like these. You might find them useful, more on productivity and creativity and a kind of productive, creative lifestyle. Let me know what you'd like to see more of on the channel and I will do my best to fulfill those requests. Thanks for joining me. Until next time, get off your computer, go outside, get some air, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.